had a longer episode this week, which I didn't know they were going to have. And I will tell you, this is probably the best episode of the show they've had.
Yeah.
This felt like an episode that had a plot and a structure and a thing they wanted to show. It's the first episode where I felt like they know what the show was.
It's also probably one of the funniest, and we'll get to that in a bit. But first, we need to talk about Billy.
Mm-hmm. So I need to ask you a question, since you're more qualified to talk about the thing that you most likely know I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead.
So, one big, stupid, bitching complaint that has been about, what's it? Joe Locke, is that the actor's name?
Yeah.
Has been that he is not Jewish. Or that, that they hired a non-Jewish actor, and then, secondly, they said that they didn't show the Jewishness of Billy, even though they never put him in a situation that would need to show that he was Jewish. Whatsoever. Not once in the show did a situation come up where I had to go, just so you're aware, before I walk in this house, I am Jewish. Because, that's how you want to represent something. Shove it down someone's throat, just because. So then they finally show him, and you're having people say the fact that they are showing it somehow is worse. And why is it worse? Because Joe isn't Jewish. Judaism is a closed ethno-religion, and it's disrespectful to have an actor who's playing a Jewish character play the character as if he's Jewish, even though the actor playing him himself is not Jewish. As a person who has family who is Jewish, is that stupid?
Yeah, it is.
Because I've said it before, Christian, don't care what religion you are, but stupid sounds stupid to me, so I wanted to inquire if it was stupid before I started saying this sounds stupid.
Yeah, it sounds like one of those complaints that, like, okay, for the record, yes, it would have been nice to have a Jewish actor playing Billy, but I think as long as his parents are played by Jewish actors, I think that's fine. That's like, sure, fine, whatever. What matters is they're establishing, like, they're establishing who Billy Kaplan is before the car accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm waiting to say that everyone's before the secondary version of that complaint starts, where they go, well, they showed that Billy Kaplan was Jewish, but they're not showing that Billy Maximoff is Jewish. I'm waiting for that.
That's a whole other can of worms.
I'm waiting for that version of stupid to start coming out. But anyway, so is the fortune teller palm reader thing normal at a bar mitzvah?
Not at any that I've been to.
Okay, because that was the thing as I'm watching this going, I don't know if that's normal, but I'm not Jewish, don't know. So
I mean, it is normal for, like, depending on how rich one's parents are, to have some ridiculous gimmick. Mm-hmm. I've seen magicians perform at bar mitzvahs. They usually have either a band or a DJ, all that stuff.
Yeah.
A palm reader, that's a new one.
That was one where it crossed over the line from entertainment to a belief system.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, that's different. But so this is the person. This is the one part of it that I'm weirded about. So this is the person that gives the sigil to Billy.
Yeah. If this flashback is accurate.
Yeah, because because at that point you're giving the sigil to him unless she's reading the future to know he's going to be possessed by Billy Maximoff, to know to put a sigil spell on him, so to know that Agatha Harkness won't be able to find out who he is. That's a hell of a lot to learn from a palm reading.
That's like playing 8D chess.
Yeah. Like, that's my like, I love this episode, but that one detail in the plot right where I was like, y'all needed a reason to get a sigil spell on this kid, and that's the only way you can think of it.
I mean, yeah, that's like you had to get from point A to point B, and this was the only way you could do it. So fine, whatever.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like this was a theory that I saw people tossing around where I was like, that's not stupid. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but the fact that Billy is in Billy was a thing I saw people tossing around where I'm like, I can see that happening. It's not stupid.
That actually is accurate to Billy's origin.
Really?
Yeah, in the comics, the Kaplans, Jeff and Rebecca, are Billy Kaplan's parents. I don't know if he died the same way. I think that might have been something unique to the MCU.
Okay. God, man, it's been so long since I've read back on that. God, I barely remember just the really old things of just Vision and Wanda just. But yeah, okay, yeah, I gotta go back and relook at all that. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, the sigil thing was a little weird, but it was cool to actually have that break off in him being the one that actually went after Agatha and seen the other end of how their conversation went.
Yeah.
That was cool. I will say that they were showing Billy being gay, and I shockingly didn't see a large amount of people complain about it. I was very shocked.
Right?
But they didn't do it in a out of the ordinary way. They just showed
he's a teenager.
And, a teenager being in a relationship. They didn't shove it in your face. So it was like, which they need to do because, like, again, character is. They're not putting a new thing on him. Anyone knows who Hulkling is, you can look into this. Mm-hmm. But him having looked into this for so long, not knowing what was going on, and actually having him, the way that they have him figure out what his powers are ever so slowly is pretty great. I just love now that how are you finding out about Westview? So I was looking on Reddit. Not the FBI database that I cracked into. I looked on Reddit.
It's so modern day internet, but if it gets us to probably my favorite scene of the episode, then again, so be it.
Yeah. They get in and I didn't think they were gonna bring Evan Peters back. I really didn't think they were gonna. But as soon as I saw like a random trench coated individual, I'm like, that's Ralph Boner. Mm-hmm. I guarantee it. And then he turns around with a beard and everything. Like, gosh dang it.
With that beard, he kind of reminded me of Michael Shannon.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he was doing like a Michael Shannon impression while being all crazy.
He was doing his best Doc Brown at certain points. Like a freaking bird skull he was shaking around and all. And yeah, having the powers, having him to figure out had to ask about Agatha because there'd be no way that he'd really know. Yeah, it was a nice setup to actually. The thing that bugs me that they don't talk about enough is people get really upset that Agatha was made out to be a bad person. Not no, that Wanda was made out to be a bad person in Multiverse of Madness. We need to. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in past episodes, but we need to talk about how she held an entire town hostage,
Right?
and we're getting to see this. And then after even she realized that she was wrong, she was being influenced by an ancient dark book that is said to manipulate even the strongest magic users in the world. And she was looking for her dead children. And that's the reason why she grabbed the book. Everyone very much likes to forget the details that lead up to Multiverse of Madness. And then be like, this evil turns out of nowhere. I just don't understand why she be doing blah, blah, blah. Like, did you tell me you didn't watch WandaVision without telling me you didn't watch the end of WandaVision? She's literally stuck in a hut with an evil, corrupting magic book after just losing her children and her husband.
Yeah, so her turn is very reasonable.
Like, come on, people. But anyway, yeah, the getting to actually see like the first witness account of someone who's like, no, she controlled my life and I was awake the whole time, like watching yourself on TV in your own head. That's
That's
terrifying.
yeah, that's gotta be like a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, so it's cool to actually hear people from inside of Westview talking about how shitty that situation was. Because now everyone was just like, "Oh, yep, I was just getting the mail now, and no, we don't see her around anymore." And like, no, your life sucked. Like the only thing you saw of it was someone write "evil witch" or whatever it was on the side of the plot of the house where the foundation is left. I'm like, that's all you were gonna write. She made you live out sitcoms for weeks. That's all you're gonna write. Now, give or take, is a normal show. They were gonna write probably some more colorful language on the side of that thing to not be seen, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, having him back was great. I had people telling me that you get to see the inverse version of when he met up with Agatha, and they were saying that Joe Locke was fighting for his life to not break in that scene. And the poke the bear part, I was like, yeah, he's trying real hard not to laugh.
Yeah, I love their back and forth. I love how he is just trying. He's trying to be serious, but he just can't.
Yes. Yeah, that is one of my favorite things where like they keep the take in, but you can very much tell that that actor is on bordering on life support, trying not to laugh.
I kind of want to see what the behind the scenes was like after they yelled cut.
Mhm. Yeah, it'd be interesting, that's for sure. But yeah, that was cool to see what the break-in attempt was like and their different perspectives on it. Um we did talk about how they kind of needed to pick a lane of how they were going to go forward if they were going to have all these trials and stuff, and apparently not, because from the sounds of it, everyone but those two are dead. So we now have just them, which drastically shrinks down, narrows, and streamlines the plot of what they need to do, which is
Hmm.
exactly what this show needed.
Now, how did you feel about the ending of this episode? I've heard some people say it was like another abrupt ending, and I don't know.
I will say it was weirdly abrupt. Like they just talked and then it cut. But they got what they wanted out of it.
Yeah, like the whole point of this episode was to tell Billy's origin, and once that all was fully realized. Now the last 3 episodes can be whatever their trial is to complete the road.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that through all of this, he's not trying to find his mom. He's trying to find Tommy.
And I kind of get why, because I think just from a production standpoint, Elizabeth Olsen is very done with this role.
Mm-hmm. Unless there's something actually good for her to do, she doesn't. She said she will come back, but there needs to be an actual reason for her to be there.
Yeah, and I've heard from the grapevine people on her team being like, yeah, no, Elizabeth Olsen's done. She's never coming back. But story wise,
I'll believe that when I say that. I'll believe that when I believe that, because I think that was said at a point when she was very sour about how multiverse ended. Because she said in interviews as of Comic-Con that she's willing to come back if it's not stupid. She was very pissed that people that were writing multiverse had not watched WandaVision.
yeah, that's a fair point. But as for Billy in the show, I think the reason why he's trying to find Tommy is because twin thing. So they're obviously connected. And also that's kind of another aspect of the comics, is that they're like long lost brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of makes sense why he's the one that he's looking for on the road.
Yeah, and you can get another member of the Young Avengers ready. The Young Avengers movie that they're supposedly never doing, according to reports. Like, they do a show or something. It'd be very dumb at this point to not take advantage of the assembled team of very good actors that you have.
Do you think we're going to see a Young Avengers project before or after either Secret Wars or Doomsday?
I see it after both of them. I see them possibly showing up in either of them, but I don't see a thing titled Young Avengers until after them.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Like we're going to see a bunch of people in both those movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's time to get an actual movie or series going beforehand.
Lord, no, and they don't need it at this point. They just need to get through this and then be on an actual good set track again.
Yeah.
And they can have setups and figure that out, because we don't know what's going to happen with how all the multiverse saga is going to end, because once it's done and they're back to probably just a set planet again, we don't know how they're going to handle that. And that'll be all interesting to see down the line. But I'm glad that like I said, that this was an episode that felt like they knew what they wanted the show to be. Which it felt like... I'm going to have to see how this next episode goes to see if I can confirm this feeling. But it kind of felt like they needed a cast of characters to get them to the point of now. And now they have the latter half of the show, which was the well written out part, probably.
Probably.
So.
So as a programming note, there's 2 weeks left, because episodes 8 and 9 are premiering
at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're almost done.
But that means we're gonna get something pretty special for the finale.
Yeah, I could imagine it's something that there's probably a giant cliffhanger-ish ending, or 2 episodes that work very well together that would have been weird to separate.
Because one of the complaints that a lot of people have about these Disney Plus shows is that the finales can kind of be either too short or just anticlimactic. And I think this kind of solves that issue.
Well, here's the thing with I feel with people calling these Disney Plus show endings anticlimactic. I think they're wanting too big of a world-changing event out of a Disney Plus show.
That's true.
This is not one of the movies where they're going to have an entire slate-changing event happen.
No.
And this is the problem where you get an Avengers Endgame movie and then they go, well, what do you mean he just saved a cat in a tree? That's what comics are. Like, you have stories that just happen sometimes, and then a small character from that thing gets brought later, and then they figure it out. Because you people also bitch if random, really important character shows up, and you're like, well, he got no screen time. I have no idea why he's here. This makes no sense. His storytelling's bad. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, really interesting to see how they handle it and where they go from there. It was interesting to see that they had nothing to do with that, like, Rio wasn't in that episode whatsoever, even looking on at random moments.
I'm sure she'll be back next time to.
Oh, I know she will.
Because she's got some business to attend to.
Mm-hmm. So, see how that gets handled. It'll be interesting, but like I said, we're almost done. So, see what, and then the next thing that's an actual Marvel thing is what again?
Give me a second.
Because Thunderbolts is next year. Sorry, Thunderbolts asterisks. Dark Avengers.
Okay, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's go to Phase 5.
Is it that Eyes of Wakanda or whatever that I keep forgetting is a thing?
I know the next movie is Brave New World in February.
Oh, that's right. That does come first.
Eyes of Wakanda is scheduled to premiere in 2024, but we don't have like an actual date yet.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, the next thing will probably be Eyes of Wakanda, but
and I'm sure because this weekend is New York Comic Con, we'll get more updates on that stuff by the end of the weekend.
yeah, most likely. All right. Yeah, that's pretty much all it was for as much of an long of an episode as it was. It was a very compact thing, so we got, I think, everything out of that. Where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on various social media sites at Captain K42. You can also find my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and that place at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Consider supporting our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need to escape? So do we.
And you can find me ever at Organoid Zero, mainly Twitch and YouTube. Until next time, we'll see you all later. Bye.